Here to talk about, firstly, the main event. The guy to my right, the former unified 147-pound world champion, the guy that many believe is the complete future of the sport. And sometimes this is very, very difficult to find an opponent for Jaron Boots Ennis.
I'm glad that he's confident. I like it. I like the confidence, but he's talking too much. You know, he gonna get exactly what he gonna look, what he looking for. You know, it's gonna be an early night, and I'm gonna have some fun, and we're gonna show out. You know, I'm not playing. I'm not here to play games.
That's the difference between this kind of fight. You know he's gonna be right there for you.
For sure. I know what he bringing to the table. You know, like I said, whatever he bring, I'm gonna be ready. And it's that time. For sure, he definitely a good fighter for sure. You know, I watch him. I like what I see. You know, a good fighter, but it's levels though. Like you fighting those guys over there. They don't got my skill. They don't have my power, my ability.
It just continues to show me that I'm doing the right thing. You know, we've been working very hard. One of the guys in the back were telling us, look how far you've gone with PBC, and everybody here, you know, now we're headlining our first pay-per-view fight.
A lot stronger than what I thought, a lot slicker. Like it's levels. He know that. You know, he know that. But
now we're the A side, and you know, not that those things matter, but it just again shows me that I'm doing the right thing. So I'm very happy. I'm very blessed, and I'm gonna continue to do my job and keep winning. Absolutely, absolutely. You know, again, we work very hard for this. I do think I am the best 154 right now. So you know, it's just to continue this.
Greg Hackett shares his opinion on why a potential fight between Sebastian Fundora and Jaron Boots Ennis might not happen at 154 pounds. He explains that he doesn't believe Fundora is currently confident enough to take on the challenge, noting that while Fundora talks a hell of a game in interviews, he likely needs a few more years mentally to feel truly sure of himself. Additionally, Hackett suggests that if such a fight were to occur, it might eventually happen at a higher weight class, 160 pounds, rather than 154 pounds.
Why? I don't think Fondora wants that trouble at 54. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he's so sure of himself. I think it's going to take him a couple years mentally to be really sure of himself. He talk a good game. He do. When he do his interviews, he talk a hell of a game. 30 seconds, he talk a hell of a game, but I don't think this is just me off of my observation. I don't think he pleased with himself just yet to say he going to fight Boots after after this fight. I don't think so.
If Boots goes into the fight with Josh Kelly, who's victorious.
Greg Hackett uses the analogy of a tiger hunting a giraffe to describe how Jaron Boots Ennis would match up stylistically against Sebastian Fundora. He explains that even if the giraffe tries to do different things, once the tiger reaches the giraffe, the outcome is effectively decided, suggesting that once Boots connects with Fundora, he will be able to secure the win.
A tiger go after a giraffe, and they be working him out. And even though he be trying a little shit, he be doing a little shit, it's just hard to get the motherfuckers off him. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be like a tiger and a giraffe. One of them type shit. Like once Boots get him, he gonna get him. We're on.
Fundora is physically anomalous for his weight class, standing at 6 feet 6 inches with an 80-inch reach. Bredman notes that you simply cannot find sparring partners who replicate these dimensions. As typical junior middleweights are much shorter because of this reach, it is nearly impossible to prepare for him. Most fighters try to hire Mike Fox to simulate that length, but Bredman points out that there is only one Mike Fox, and even then, he doesn't fully capture Fondora's specific physical makeup. Fundora is a southpaw who is mean, battle-tested, possesses great conditioning, and is constantly improving, making him an incredibly tough matchup.
I picked Virgil Ortiz because Fondora may well could beat him. It's really a 50-50 fight. I'm just trying to give you a definitive answer just right now. Just trying to do the best I can. So I don't know which one is Boots' toughest fight, because physically Fondora is his toughest fight, because where do you find 6'6" southpaw sparring with an 80-inch reach? Where do you find that at? You know what I mean? Like, everybody hires Mike Fox, but there's only one of him. You know what I mean? Like, where do you find that?
Everybody goes to Fox. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Where do you find that? Like, a tall southpaw was like 5'11", 6 feet, 6'1". Fondora's 6'6" in boxing shoes. Where do you find that at? With a jab, with an uppercut, with a hook. He's mean, he's battle-tested, great conditioning, and he's improving in front of our eyes. So that might be, you know what I mean? The fact is, Virgil was right-handed.
Breadman warns that while Boots Ennis has elite talent, he must be cautious against Virgil Ortiz. Virgil is technically sound on the inside, keeping his hands up and throwing sharp, short counters. If Boots gets reckless with his own winging shots, he could be in trouble. Boots loves to work in that mid-range, but that's exactly where Virgil is most dangerous.
Those is punches right from where they're at, and those short crit hooks and uppercuts, and he's kind of even-handed. And I think that would be, Boots will have to be on his game because Boots likes it. Even though Boots could play with Virgil and do fancy stuff from the outside and use his speed, at some point, Boots is going to back Virgil up, try to back him up, start beating his body and working in the mid-range and the inside because that's where he likes it. That's how he sees a fight. You can't fault a person for seeing a fight the way they see a fight, but that's where Virgil likes it also. And I think that in there, that Boots will have to be really, really sharp because although Boots is more talented than me, to me, I think sometimes Boots right in those ranges, he drops his hands a little bit and kind of wings his shot sometimes. And Virgil is a little bit more tighter and shorter right there. I think that will be the one area that Boots will have to be careful with Virgil if they're exchanging, like let's say they're exchanging hooks.
Breadman notes that when a fighter has multiple viable ways to win, it can create decision anxiety. Unlike the fight with Fondora, where the game plan is straightforward due to Fondora's extreme height and reach, Boots would have to decide whether to outbox Ortiz from the outside, push him backward, or utilize a hybrid approach.
So, where Boots could possibly have some trouble. So I think that he would have to be more careful with Virgil. With Fondora, the game plan is a little bit easier because he's so tall. He got to just, you know what I mean? He got to dog him. He going to have to dog him. And believe it or not, Hans, sometimes the more difficult fight is the fight where you have to pick which game plan to execute. Because Virgil, he can outbox Virgil, in my opinion, right? But somebody else may say, you know what? Virgil's a come forward fighter. If Boots pushes him back, then the fight's over with. That's another way of looking at it. You know what I mean? It's more than one way to skin a cat. So then Boots is the...
Greg Hackett discussed the tactical difficulty of fighting Fondora. Hackett highlights that Fondora's pressure feels like a mountain raining down. He also critiques Fondora's defense, suggesting that to have a chance, opponents must stop trying to be defensive and instead fire and trade punches when Fondora opens up.
Mentally broke and then got caught with a mean uppercut that kind of, turned the whole thing around. Like, this shit, that's it.
Yo, it's come forward pressure, but from fucking 10 feet away,
like a mountain. Yeah.
And it's like kind of like raining down on you.
Yep. So that's why it's tough being in there with Fondora. But what I saw was Fondora defense really not that good. And his reaction time defensively isn't that good. So you gotta get in there and fire. If you're gonna give yourself a chance with Fondora, you gotta fire. That's really where your chances. It don't matter how good your defense is and all of that with Fondora. You got to fire. You got to just trade with him.
He was able to land a couple of overhands.
He landed a big hook, too, one time. But that's what I'm saying. Your chance with Fondora is when he opens up. You can't try to be too defensive with a guy like that because, you know what I mean, he right there. He coming. So you got to hit that motherfucker.
Robert Garcia explains his frustration with the WBC regarding Virgil Ortiz Jr.'s position in the 154 pounds division. He argues that even though Ortiz is the interim champion, the organization has failed to mandate a fight against Sebastian Fundora. Garcia emphasizes that the rules dictate the champion should face the interim title holder once available, but feels the WBC is not following this process, which prevents Ortiz from fighting for the main title.
There's 4 champions. Virgil's the interim WBC champion. But I think Virgil's the best at that division. The WBC doesn't call out the mandatory, which they should have done it 2 fights ago, where Fondora has to fight Virgil because Virgil's the interim champion. When you become interim, it's for one reason, because a champion is maybe injured, maybe in reasons, maybe he has another fight that he already committed. So let's do an interim. But the moment that what's up, Tony? But the moment that the champion is available, he has to fight the interim champion. That's the way it is. That's the laws. That's the rules. But they just don't do it. So Virgil's not champion because the WBC hasn't forced Fondora to fight Virgil. There's the other 3 champions. Sandro Sayas became champion. There was a lot of talk. Sandro Sayas' team and promoters were never gonna.
Robert Garcia shares his personal respect for Sebastian Fundora and his family. He praises Fondora for his professional growth, noting that he has matured as a fighter and significantly improved his punch placement and composure in the ring. Despite this high level of respect, Garcia emphasizes that he must stay focused on his professional duties as a trainer for Virgil Ortiz Jr. He highlights that because Ortiz is the mandatory challenger, he must continue to advocate for that title fight to happen, treating the situation as strictly business once the boxers face each other.
I was gonna beat Thurman pretty bad. I think he's gonna beat Thurman pretty bad.
You know, I talk to Fundora. I talk to Fundora all the time, but he told me something a couple of days ago that really stuck out. Is he said, Marcus, I matured so much. My punch placement has drastically improved
100%.
because I've become a more calm fighter.
100%.
Can you talk to us about that?
I've seen that happen. I give nothing but respect to him and his dad.
Freddie
They're
Fundora.
doing such a great job. The sister who fights this weekend,
Abby's fighting on the 28th at Fantasy Springs.
you know, she's undisputed. She's the best woman fighter of the year. The brother is unbelievable, man. He's improved so much. He's got so much better. He's learned so much. So honestly, they're here locally, Southern California. They're great people. I give them nothing but respect, nothing but you know, great things to them because they know how I feel about them. But
Fundora notes that by the time Boots became a unified champion, he already had a mandatory fight lined up, so that matchup didn't materialize then. He expresses interest in both fights for next year, jokingly mentioning his consistent history of fighting in March over the past 4 years, and invites others to reach out for a March date. He mentions that there were talks for a fight, but it fell through because Kelly wanted to fight in England during July.
I'll bring whoever, man. We were in talks for Josh Kelly, but Josh Kelly wanted to fight in July in England and all these things, so that fight fell off. But I mean, by the time Boots became champion, unified champion, we already had this fight lined up with the mandatory. So, but I like both of those fights. I like both of them. Next year, well, we always been like the past 4 years been fighting in March. I'll see you guys in March. Hit me up. I'll see you guys in March.
Bredman notes that Fundora is often underestimated due to his appearance, being lanky and wearing glasses, but emphasizes that he possesses significant physical strength and is a much tougher, more difficult opponent to deal with than he looks. He explains that once an opponent breaks the distance against Fundora, it becomes very difficult to handle the precision and speed of his punches.
To be a lot more than people want to give credit to. He just doesn't look like an intimidating guy with the glasses and the soft spokenness and very skinny. But he's a tough dude, man. He's tough to deal with. But I think that Virgil Ortiz.
Danny Garcia breaks down the potential showdown between Jaron Boots Ennis and Sebastian Fundora. He acknowledges Fondora's 6 feet 6 inches height and southpaw stance as a major challenges, but insists that Boots is the more skilled, faster, and explosive fighter. Garcia predicts that Boots can exploit Fondora's defensive vulnerabilities to secure a late knockout.
I think that's a great fight. I think that's an amazing fight. Boots definitely got the better skills, faster, hits hard, more athletic. But Fondora is just 6'7", so I think that's the problem. He gives anybody a hard fight just because of his height and he's southpaw. But I think he's there to be hit. Lubin put him down. That was the Mexican guy that stopped him.
Mendoza.
Yeah, Brian Mendoza stopped him. So he's showing like vulnerabilities. But I think it's a great fight. But I think Boots might knock him out too. And you ask me,
How do you fight a guy like that, Danny?
you just gotta get close. Get close, stay tight, move your head, and don't let him keep you on the end of his punches. And just try to touch that chin,
So
touch that body.
getting close, do you gotta take a shot to get a shot?
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be one of those fights, like a grueling fight type fighter, where it's like,
Coach Bredman explains his frustration with the boxing media. He argues that reporters had already established a narrative to protect the opponent's reputation in case of a loss, aiming to craft a moral victory for them, regardless of how well Jaron Boots Ennis actually performed in the ring.
But I think that the media was already putting that in place just in case he lost to try to make it sound like, you know, just to kind of just to get a moral victory and just to kind of slant things, you know, in a certain context, no matter what Boots did.
Coach Bredman analyzes a potential matchup with Sebastian Fundora. He argues that Jaron Boots Ennis could stop Fundora early because Fondora's tall stature makes him a large, easy target for a sharpshooter. Bredman notes that despite Fondora's size and jab, he struggles with head movement and defense, making him vulnerable to Boots' looping shots and aggressive style.
And two.
I think Boots, people are not going to like this, right? I think Boots could get Fundora out there early because I think that stylistically, Fundora is too big of a target. And you give a sharpshooter like that a big target, he's going to be able to hit him anywhere. He's not going to be able to miss him. Boots those real good looping shots. Fondora's using his jab more and he's using the distance more, but he still can't move his head. Nobody 6'6" can move their head. You know, that was the thing about Xander that I was trying to tell you, Mills. I said, bro, we keep talking about Boots defense. Xander don't move his head. Xander moves his feet. He don't move his head. His head snaps back.
But I said that
Sebastian Fundora denied accusations that he had been avoiding a fight with Jaron Boots Ennis. He stated that he was never presented with an official offer and said the claims of him ducking Ennis are based on speculation, not reality.
Until we sign that contract or anything becomes of it, I mean, we'll let you know. We'll let you know. For real. I mean, because they never offered me no fight. You guys are calling me duck for a fight that never happened. You know, if Boots didn't win the fight and Zayas won and we didn't fight Boots, we'll still be a duck? I don't think so. So, you know, things need to make sense. You know, we were actually in talks for Josh Kelly to unify with him, but he wanted to fight in, I think, this month. He wants to fight in July or whatever. That didn't line up with us. And he wanted to fight in England. Again, that didn't line up with us. So that fight didn't become. But, you know, we never were, this guy wasn't champion yet. This guy wasn't even a champion yet. So to be saying stuff that's unrealistic, like you said in the beginning of the interview, to believe things from just random people kind of sucks. But I mean, that's the sport. You know, it is what it is. You know, I'm going to have my people.
Tim Bradley shared why he believes a fight between Sebastian Fundora and Jaron Boots Ennis would be a thrilling matchup. While he acknowledged Fondora's height and reach as major advantages, Bradley said Boots' speed, footwork, quick hands, and body attack could be the keys to breaking Fundora down.
Boots has the style that I believe that can give him fits because of his elusiveness. And Boots is quick on the trigger. He's not as long as this guy, but he's not, you know, he got about 74. This other, you know, Fundora has about 80-inch reach. But he has a quick first step. He throws combinations. He is a risk taker. He's a hell of a body puncher. He has a large toolbox, I think.
Tim Bradley believes Sebastian Fundora's team is steering clear of a fight with Jaron Boots Ennis because they view him as one of the division's most dangerous and skilled fighters. In Bradley's opinion, Ennis presents a risk that many opponents would rather avoid.
That's why you see Fundora wanting to fight because he don't have to fight his mandatory. I'm letting y'all know that right now. He got a year to fight his mandatory. An entire year with the WBC, right? And all he has to do is ask the WBC, hey, I want to pursue this bigger venture with Boots Ennis, but as you see, the manager, all right, they don't want it to do anything. They don't want anything to do with Boots. Nothing to do with Boots. And so people saying, well, Boots ain't fighting nobody. Boots ain't fight. So now he wants to fight somebody, right? And nobody wants to fight him. And nobody wants to fight him.
Chris Algieri believes a showdown between Sebastian Fundora and Jaron Boots Ennis would be one of the best fights the junior middleweight division has to offer. He pointed to their contrasting styles, saying Boots' speed, movement, and counterpunching would clash perfectly with Fondora's height, reach, and disciplined pressure, making it a compelling matchup.
But Fundora is such a difficult puzzle. He's so long, and he's getting better. He's improving. He's improving. He's learning how to use his size. He's using his jab. He's being more disciplined. He's not taking risks like he used to. Talk about a guy who used to allow people to hit him and then has figured out that you shouldn't do that at the highest level in that Brian Mendoza fight. But since then, he's been very, very, you know, you got Boots, who's a fluid, side switching, counter punching, killer puncher. You got Virgil, who's a two-fisted destroyer, comes to get you. Fundora is the towering inferno. He's 6'9" or however tall he is. You know, you got Josh Kelly, who's a slippery guy. So you've got a
Trainer Robert Garcia weighed in on a potential fight between Sebastian Fundora and Jaron Boots Ennis. While praising Ennis for his skill, toughness, and determination, Garcia said he believes Boots is still vulnerable in exchanges. Given Fondora's continued improvement since becoming world champion, Garcia said he would lean toward Fundora to come out on top.
The skills, the power to be able to compete and dominate against any of the top 4-pounders. But he also showed that he gets clipped and he got hurt. So I picked Fondora. Fondora it's been improving and getting better. Since he lost his fight and then became champion, he's getting better and better and better every time he fights. He's 6'8", 9", whatever, 6'9".
6'6", but still tall.
Tall motherfucker.
He hits hard. Yeah.
He's got good power. And, you know, he's been knocked out, but how easy
Mendoza.
Yes, but how easy are you gonna connect? How easy are you gonna, you know, it's not gonna be easy. Plus
Erickson Lubin had some success too.
Plus, like I said,
but he's still beat him. Yeah.
But this was before he became champion. Now that he's champion, he's getting better and better and better. So I picked him.
When asked which opponents would bring out the best in Jaron Boots Ennis, Boots Ennis named Sebastian Fundora and Virgil Ortiz. He believes both fights would challenge Boots at the highest level and deliver the exciting matchups boxing fans have been waiting for.
Who do you think could bring out the best in your son at 154?
Oh, no. I don't know. I mean, he's supposed to bring out the best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know? But Fundora, I like Fundora. What other name? Fundora? I like to fight him. I think Ortiz, that'll be a good fight.
Sebastian Fundora reflected on a potential showdown with Jaron Boots Ennis while discussing Boots' performance against Xander Zayas. He praised Ennis for his relentless work rate, determination, and ability to fight through adversity, saying those qualities make him a dangerous opponent and would make a future clash between them a compelling matchup.
So let's talk about that third round for a moment. Xander Zayas landed some punches. Did you start to think of what would happen if you landed those same shots?
Absolutely, absolutely. And Zayas isn't a pressure fighter. You know, Zayas isn't trained that way. Zayas is a box pretty, do his thing, and make it his rhythm type of fighter. Which Boots just kind of is, but Boots had more of that work rate, I guess, in that fight. More of that guts type of feeling in that fight. So, you know,